What's going on, y'all? My name is Miles Tokunow. I'm a community organizer, and I'm here to talk to you about the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement is so important to learn about because all the work that we do to fight social inequalities today is based on the shoulders of those who fought in the civil rights movement. So what was it? It was a decades-long fight against racial discrimination, racial violence, and segregation. Throughout the 50s and 60s, Black organizers and leaders and community members came together to fight to be included in this country. So in my speaking to the civil rights movement, I want to clear up a couple misconceptions. As an organizer, it's really important to be able to highlight these things. So when I think about how the civil rights movement is taught, I think about the focus on the individual. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks, and not to diminish any of the work that they did, because they did and they were incredible leaders, but the work took the entire community. It took leaders and organizers, clergymen, and it took people like you and me, right? Where our family members who walked side by side, those leaders made the difference to change the hearts and the minds of our nation, to say, we as Black people deserve to be here, deserve to have the same protections and same access to the resources of this nation. The second misconception that I have is that it was just struggle, and it was just a fight, and it was just violence. I think in terms of social justice, we can get into that mindset where it's only about hard work. And it was. There were so many sacrifices, from people getting locked up to people passing away to fight for these freedoms that we have today. But there was also so much more. It was incredible music and songs and worship and art and joy as well. And that is such an important part of being able to make change as well, is being able to touch the hearts and minds of everybody. And you can't do that with just one way. One thing that I love about the civil rights movement is this phrase that I use today in my organizing: nothing about us without us. So what does that mean? It means that those people who are making decisions about our lives, about where we go to school, what we learn, about how much money we get paid, about having access to healthcare, that they can't be making those decisions without our input, without us being at the table. Nothing about us without us. And that to me speaks to the passage of the Voting Rights Act during the civil rights movement that allowed our protection and safety to be able to vote. And I think that our inclusion in democracy is such a big deal, and that our democracy doesn't work, right? Our society doesn't work without our inclusion and without our participation. So I ask you today to get involved by making sure that you're registered to vote. And if you can't vote, make sure everybody in your household is registered to vote. Outside of that, you can do a myriad of things as well. You can come together as a community with friends, neighbors, and be able to talk about the issues that affect you and say, we deserve better. And that's what the civil rights taught us, is that in the face of any inequality, we can come together as a community and fight for justice and liberation.